dozens, if not hundreds of deaths every day as a result of these horrendous policies. But this particular one captured our attention. 23-year-old illegal Victor Martinez Hernandez was arrested in Tulsa, Oklahoma, not a border state, at least not traditionally thought of as a border state, for the rape and murder of Rachel Morin, a Maryland mother of 5, taken after DNA found at another crime scene in California linked him to this crime. The sheriff of that Maryland town minced no words at the press conference, placing the blame directly on failed policies of the Biden administration. Take a listen.
It has been a fear of mine that once we identified this suspect, the result would be exactly this. And I want to now direct these comments to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and to every member in both chambers of Congress. We are 1,800 miles away here in Harford County. We are 1,800 miles away from the southern border, and the American citizens are not safe because of failed immigration policies. This is the second time in just 2 years that an innocent Harford County woman has lost her life to a criminal in our country illegally.
We say it every day on this show, over and over. Every town is a border town, but this story drove it home in ways that are just almost palpably painful, are they not, Sheriff?
Yeah, very painful. Look, I know that sheriff very well. My heart goes out to him because of what they are having to deal with because of this open border policy. That sheriff and so many other of my sheriff friends across this country, we are struggling because of this administration's willingness to allow all these people to come in virtually unvetted from all these different countries, many of them criminals in their own countries. And then we pay the consequences on a local level for the federal government's failure to secure the border. I was just in Palm Beach this last week for the major county sheriff's association. This is going to be counties, your largest counties in the country, populations of 500,000 or more. And one of the main topics, the main topic, and the main issue that we are all dealing with, Democrat and Republican sheriff alike, is the border, the fentanyl, the crime that comes along with it. And yet this is just yet another perfect example. Every state is a border state.
Sheriff, you mentioned 2 key words there. You said virtually unvetted. Unpack that for us a little bit. What happens or what doesn't happen? What needs to happen? What changes need to be made? Because clearly people are not only getting through the cracks, it's a wide open crack. Yeah,
and Sheriff, if I can just build on David's question a little bit, why no fingerprints? Why no DNA when this dude came in the country? Why can we not at least put that together? Is it that the NGOs are paying for lawyers so that these invaders have more American constitutional civil rights than the Americans they're murdering?
Well, these are all very good common sense questions, but you must understand they want to break the system. This administration's policies, the left, the globalists, they're trying to break the system. And what better way to do it than with an open border? And David, to unpack that, what I mean is they're only vetting per the Border Patrol. They tell me they're only able to vet about 5% of these people coming in. And Dr. Gina, you're exactly right. What the solution is don't let them in. You can't let them in. They're coming in illegally. They're making false asylum claims. You cannot let them in. But they're not being fingerprinted for the most part. They're not having DNA samples. And then now you look at these videos. This is what we deal with, the aftermath. Why? Because they think we're not a country of laws, because we threw our laws aside when it came to them coming into this country. And the only way we fix this is with an election. We must make sure that we get these people out. President Trump showed that during his 4 years, he can get this job done. And we need that now more than ever, because this is the greatest threat we're facing as Americans, the national security threat at the southern border, between all these people unvetted, between all the fentanyl. This is the greatest threat we face as Americans every day.
Sheriff Lamb, Terrence here. President Biden, of course, signed that executive order a couple of weeks ago now. I'm curious if you're seeing any significant change in the immigration system, or was it really just like what we all thought, an election year ploy, and it really hasn't made any change, made any difference? No, we haven't seen any difference. This is just words. This is them trying to dig their way out of it, and at a gigantic hole they've dug over the last 3.5 years
with the border. And the American people have realized this is a complete catastrophe, and now they're trying to make political moves to get it out of it. The reality is we're still seeing just as much fentanyl. My guys last week had 80 pounds of fentanyl, 360,000 pills, 9 pounds of cocaine in one car. We had 110,000 pills a few days before that. We're still catching people in cars every day. It has not changed one bit. What did change is they went into the Border Patrol agents and solidified, look, we want you to give these people asylum if they look scared or if they're trembling or if they don't say anything. Make sure that you give them asylum. So they're giving conflicting. They're telling the public one thing. They're telling Border Patrol agents and people the other thing. This is why I'm running for the U.S. Senate. We cannot continue to allow this on a national level. There's only so much I can do. And look at that sheriff and myself and so many other sheriffs. We're having to pick up the pieces for the families after they lose their loved ones to fentanyl or to some criminal who got into this country. And there's only so much we can do as sheriffs, which is why I'm taking this fight to the national level and running for the U.S. Senate. Hopefully people come support me at sherifflamforsenate.com.
But Sheriff, Pennsylvania admitted to 11,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote, according to the Washington Times. Texas Secretary of State David Whitley, using state driver's records, this is Texas, which include immigration status, found that 95 people in that state who were illegals, 58,000 had already voted at some point since 1996. Can you imagine what those numbers are now? They stole the last election. What's happening this election?
You know, we as Americans, we have this lofty view of people that are in government, when the reality is government's incompetent. And then we have them running elections and so many other things, and we expect a different result. David was right. A lot of that is already being done. What are we doing right now? You know, our state legislature in Arizona is Republicans. They're the one that passed all the laws that we currently have in Arizona. And frankly, you only need to really target a handful of counties across this country to make a significant impact in this election. And so while I hope the Republicans are doing everything they can, David's right. We should be doing everything we can now. I know we do stuff in our county. We put cameras on all the ballot boxes. We're trying to clean our voter rolls. There is a ton of work that we're doing already to make sure that we're giving our folks, at least in our county, which is what I'm responsible for, the most honest and secure election that we can give them. I wish I was in charge of the whole state for that.
Yeah.
But on another level, I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and my job as a senator is to keep the federal government out of our state elections, because government's so incompetent, they tend to jack everything up that they touch. So we as Americans got to realize we don't exactly have this voting process in the most capable hands.
Sheriff Mark Lamb, thank you for being here.